and the stars, like they were so close to me. It's like the stars were beaming down at me, like certain stars. It's like they were just like calling out to me, like they almost just wanted to grab me and like pull them up. It was amazing.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Orphic. My name is Alyssa. I'm an astrophysicist. I have my PhD, and I'm interested in understanding the consciousness of the universe and the spirituality of astrophysics. Everything does have consciousness and souls in these celestial bodies, and I think there's another piece of the story, and there's another way to kind of thread the needle of spirituality in the story of the creation and evolution of our entire universe. And that is what I am trying to do. I'm trying to understand how it works and to blend science and spirituality with astrophysics. So please give me a follow on Instagram at interdimensional.astrophysics.
Hey, I'm Mikayla with Mariposa Moonchild. Please follow me on Instagram at Mariposa Moonchild. I do shadow alchemy work and empathic energy medicine. And through that, my prayer is to be a part of the ripple effect of healing across the planet. It's to learn how to co-create with Mother Earth, with the souls around me, and co-create in our own healing, our own divinity, and our own creation. And just leaning in deeper and deeper into what that actually means and to what I'm being called to. So at this time, I feel like I'm being called to support and guide others along their journey with the medicine that I have to unlock and uncover their own medicine, which is really cool and exciting. So that is what I'm here to be a part of. And yeah, check me out on Instagram. And if you're called to do any work with me, any sessions, as well as my one-on-one programs that I'm opening up, just send me a DM or get in contact with me over my email or my Instagram. You can find some more information there.
Yep. Great. Okay, let's ground in and get started.
Okay. Just going to light some Palo Santo. So just take a moment to close your eyes if you wish. Maybe connect into your heart, to your body. And we're going to take a few deep cleansing breaths. So I invite you to take a deep breath in, filling your lungs all the way to the top, pausing at the top, taking a moment here. And let it go. Release through the mouth. Taking another deep breath in, breathing in that Palo Santo smoke into your lungs, allowing it to move into the parts of your body that are asking to be cleansed and released. Filling your lungs all the way to the top, holding here, and opening your mouth and letting go. Letting go of anything that feels heavy, anything that feels dense. Releasing it with the breath. One more deep breath in, breathing into that Palo Santo. Big breath, biggest breath you've taken today, filling your lungs all the way from your belly, all the way into your chest. Taking a moment and holding here. Feel your heart beating in your chest, and the blood running through your veins. Feel your skin on your clothing. Feel your eyes underneath your eyelids. And when you're ready, open your mouth and release. Let it all go. taking a moment to feel into the soil and the earth below you. Imagine your feet and even your hands feeling on top of grass and dirt, feeling into Mother Earth, letting her energy hold you, letting that grounding sensation wash over you, allowing yourself to be received and held in this space. Sending thanks to Mother Earth. And slowly, when you're ready, bring yourself back gently into this space.
That was nice.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited for everyone that's listening to this right now because you're about to listen to what me and Mikayla really think is one of our most activating, best episodes yet. So, yeah, this is part 2 of Mikayla's mushroom medicine ceremony. And it's deep, guys. This is a good one. It's really deep. Breakthroughs. I have a breakthrough through you. A lot is happening. And yeah, I have a breakthrough through your story. And it's very activating. We really think so. So just keep an open mind and, receive is what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Just be open and allow for whatever to come through, whatever that means to you. I think it's interesting because when I talk about, in the intro, or when I introduce myself and I talk about the ripple effect of healing, this is really an example of that, because when you show up to do the work, when you choose to do the work, it ripples out into your reality, and it affects every other person in your reality too. So it affects your partner, it affects your parents, it affects your friends. And, from me showing up and going through my transformation and my work during this medicine ceremony, it also ripple affected over into you and the realizations and the moments that you had even in this episode. So that's really cool to see that happen in real time.
Yes.
And
in real time it happened. And then even later that night and the next day, I was like, oh man, I'm still processing some of this stuff that came up for me in this episode. So yeah. It's all good, and it's all moving us into a good, positive, upward direction, I think.
Yeah. So, as we do this healing work, we're not alone, and we're all processing, we're all integrating, and we're all connected in this too, and also held and supporting each other. So I think that's pretty cool. Another thing I want to mention with this experience of the mushroom medicine ceremony, this is my own personal experience. So I'm not encouraging or telling anyone that this is what they need to do. I can only speak from my experience and speak on that. So I just wanted to reiterate that and mention that. And again, thank the land, the space holders, the women, everything and all that was holding space during this ceremony again.
Yes.
And I still feel like I've been processing and integrating since then still. And I remember just even after our episode, I'm like, there's so many things that were coming to me that I'm just like, I forgot to say this, and I forgot to mention this part, or there's this and this and this, and I'm just trusting the process of everything that's been said so far. But it really is deep work that just keeps it just keeps going, it just keeps flowing. And and since then I've been leaning more into just leaning in, just leaning into the call of spirit and what that means for me, which has been an interesting process, an exciting process, also interesting, also a little scary in some ways. But I'm learning more and more what it means to lean in and fully surrender and trust. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Well said.
Mhm.
Well said. Okay. Well, I hope everyone enjoys this episode, and we can't wait to hear feedback. Oh, yeah, especially on this episode, like let us know, DM us, leave a comment on
Yeah.
the YouTube. We love to hear feedback for how it resonated with you. And yeah, we appreciate
Yeah.
that. So
It does. Yeah, feedback really helps. Just for us to know if we're kind of, um, if it's hitting the way it's
Yes.
supposed to, or if you
Right,
have
right.
any suggestions or recommendations, or if it really resonates with you, it really helps us to know that as well. And we
Yes.
just really appreciate every single person that's listening, every single person that's holding the frequency of our podcast and our work. We love you very much. We see you, we feel you. So thank you for being here.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. Enjoy this episode.
Enjoy.
Yeah. So what was the next big event of things to move through? Casual, releasing a lot of really deep things that have been with you for a really long time.
Yeah.
So that was big.
Yeah, that was a really big one to move through and just feel free. So yeah, move through that. And it was like, yeah, kind of constant. That was a really big one, but just, moments. Cause I think, but that also happened quick. Like it felt like this was moving pretty like quickly. Like I was like this thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. And it was just like boom, 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 boom. And yeah. And then, so then there's also, I kind of talked about like having to journey to go to the bathroom and what that was like in having to like ask for help and stuff like that. And there was this moment too where like, because the more and more they hit, the more kind of like incapacitated I felt. Like I would like get up to like go do something like, and it was like, and in the beginning part, it was like getting up was almost a big feat in itself because I'd be so much in my cocoon. And then again, and now that I did the sisterhood healing, I was really working on moving through the anxiety of getting up. But then I would get up and I'd feel really decapacitated or incapacitated. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get to the bathroom? How am I going to do this? And I was noticing I was drinking like a lot of water. And I was having these moments where I was getting up and then I was laying in my bed and I was like, just like moving around, however felt good, like on my stomach, like across my bed, like just like moving and just like yelling things out loud. I don't really all know what, like that kind of feels fuzzy to me, but I remember more and more like saying things. And also now I finally felt like I don't care. Like I'm in my process and I don't care.
Yeah.
Yes.
Surrendered to it.
Yes.
At this point. Yeah,
yes.
like,
And it was constant, just like surrender in all of these different ways. But I had this really interesting kind of thing with water pop up because I kept being thirsty and kept like drinking my water. And now all of a sudden my water was gone, like that I brought in my water bottle. And I didn't know where to get more water. And I didn't know who to ask for help. And I also was just like I felt bad for asking, but it was also like, I think part of the journey was like helping myself to like get it. And so I just like, I went to the bathroom and I came back out and I like couldn't find any water anywhere. And I was back in my cocoon and the process that was going through my head was so interesting because like at first it was like, I was constantly listening to these my body's need, like my body needed water, if my body needed to go to the bathroom, if my body needed this, my body needed I needed something to put on, like I need to be warmer, I need to be cooler. And it's almost like it was a distraction, like all these, in a way, of all these things that my body needed.
Yeah, right. Like, let me fix this. Let me fix this.
And that was, I think, an ADHD thing that I struggle with too, of let me fix this, let's make fix this, let me fix this. And I'm very much like that. And then so it was like, well, what if you just sit in this and this discomfort or whatever it is and just feel it, and having to really talk myself through that too. Like, you're not going to die if you don't put your sweater on right now. Or the water. Right. And the water was really interesting because I had drank my water bottle down. I was like kind of laying with it, hugging it. And then I go to take a sip and like no drops are coming out. And I'm like, fuck, my mouth is so dry. And I don't want to get up to find this water because I don't even know how I'm going to do it. I don't know where it's at. I don't know. My top of my water bottle has a tiny hole like this. I don't know how I'm going to fill it up right now. I don't know. And so I'm sitting there trying to avoid getting in because I just don't want to, but it's all I can think about. And then I just like went really deep into the water too. And it was like, okay, I'm not going to die. Like, and it was weird because, I went into a really, really deep place because even though like I was okay and technically my body would have been fed and I would have had enough water because I probably drank water not that long ago, my body went to this place where it felt like it was going to die. It was, really interesting. And my mind went to this place too, where I listened to this girl. I remember this one episode of a podcast I listened to, and she was out, I think in South America, and she did however many days without food and also however many days without water. And I don't think you can, I don't know how long you can go without water, but I don't know.
Only
but she did, I think, a little bit of it. And I remember listening to her talk about it on this podcast. And she was like, I thought I was going to die. Like, I thought I was going to die. And it was also like, it was a thing like this where she did it to herself. She chose to do it. You hike up this mountain and you stay up there and you fast and you don't drink water for however long it is. And she's like, the first time she did it, she's like, I actually thought I was going to pass away. And so I was remembering that. And I was like, well, if this girl can do it and that girl can go for so long without water, you can go without water too. And also this time the visuals are getting really crazy. Like, you close your eyes and it's just like all of these visuals constantly, like things are moving around and happening, and it's like really starting to move and flow with it. So I'm just sitting there and then I'm like, and then for some reason, and now it felt like there had been days that I hadn't got water. And then I'm just like, okay, well, if this girl can do it, I can do it. But then I was like, but humans also need water to live. Like, if humans don't have water for this amount of time, like they will die. And then I was like, and it was weird because in that moment, it felt like I hadn't had water for days and days and days. And it was like this just like feeling of no water and just this overstimulation in my body and my brain, and it actually felt like I was gonna die. And so instead of being like, oh my god, blah blah, I just like faced that and was like, okay, so what if I do die? What if I do die right now and like literally die? And then I was like, I kind of started laughing at myself, and I'm like, well, I'm not afraid to die. Like, I've known this about myself for a while. Like, I'm not afraid to go there. And I was like feeling into it for real. And I'm like, is that something I've just told myself, or am I actually not? And like, I sat with that and I'm like, no, if that's what I'm meant to do right now, if I'm meant to die and pass over, then that's what's meant to happen. And it's just energy moving. I know I'm going to be fine. I've been to the other side. Like, I know what's there. I know that I'm just moving and I'm going to be fine. And if I'm supposed to die right now, I accept that. Like, wow. So just moving through that.
Some deep level
and
of
just
acceptance.
like every single layer of like unlocking that happened when you move through that. And then so I came out on the other side of that and went, I'm pretty thirsty though, so I think I'm gonna get water. Yeah,
right.
So,
in conclusion, I'll still get the water.
I see off in the distance, not really, it's like a little bit away from me, there's like this big jar of water, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
So I like look at
Huzzah.
it next to the space holder that was sitting next to it. I look at her and I'm like, water? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I just go over there and I just like grab it and I bring it over to myself. And I didn't pour it. Looking back, I probably should have put it into my water bottle. And so, but I didn't, because at the time I don't think I knew how I was going to get it into my water bottle with the tiny spout on it.
Yeah,
So I grabbed this thing, but then I had such this interesting moment because I looked at it and I didn't drink it. I just hugged it because I was just so grateful for it. And it was also this moment of like, even though really my body was fine, the medicine had pushed me to a place where it felt like, to a place where it really felt like it was like life or death. And so now, and I felt like I didn't have that resource and I didn't have access to it. And now that I had access to it, I had such a deep appreciation for water that I'd never felt before, because like really whenever in my life have I been deprived of water? I live in a first world country and I have access to that. And I just looked at it and I was just so appreciative. So I just took a second and just like felt into it with gratitude and like held it at my heart and was like, thank you. Thank you. And then like, I just had this moment of really connecting to like the element of water. And then like, took the lid off and just like took a drink of it. And it was so cool because just the way the light was shining through it, it was like kind of rainbows were refracting from inside the bottle. And I just seen like the kind of prisms and the rainbows, and it was so like ethereal. And I was like drinking this water and I was like, wow, my life has been saved.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. So it was a very necessary journey. The whole thought journey of getting there to that was very necessary for the gratitude.
That's what I mean. Like these little journeys that are kind of intertwined in the thought patterns. Like they're just so necessary of like a deeper process that's going on that you wouldn't even necessarily realize elsewise. But the medicine like brings out the process. And so now I was coming into a place where like the energy's starting to move a bit. And I'm like having these realizations too, where it's just like, I am safe. I'm here in this sisterhood. I am safe. I am held in this. And the only reason before that I felt that I wasn't safe is because I was telling myself I wasn't safe. And now I'm telling myself that I am safe.
Yeah.
And even to just look around the room and look at my sisters or the women that were around me and the space holders, I just seen everyone in this just like different light where they just looked so beautiful, but beautiful for them and exactly how they were, no matter what, without this like prejudgment, I guess. So I think as women, like I've talked about that already, the programming and stuff to be judgmental or that, we have to look perfect or put together all the time. But I was just seeing this appreciation of just like, I truly love this person that's like sitting in front of me or is across from me or is here. And I love them exactly how they are, exactly how their nose is shaped, exactly how their hair is, exactly how maybe their stretch marks they have or whatever it is. And I love them for that because it's them. And then just realizing that, this sisterhood, it exists. This is something that I've been craving for and wanting for such a long time, and allowing myself to break through and open that up. And it's like, now it's here and it exists, and I get to love my sisters in full love, and that I get to be received in that too. And I was just having these moments too where I didn't care anymore about how I looked or how or whatever. Like instead of like trying to get my stuff together, I guess, or whatever, I was letting my jacket kind of fall off my shoulders as I was getting up. And I didn't want my hair to be, because when I first went there, since my hair was natural, I put it back in a bun, and I didn't want to feel restricted by my bun anymore. So like I let my hair out. It was just like my natural hair, and I just didn't care. And I was just like letting myself be myself and saying what I was expressing to what was coming up to me. I was expressing And like, yeah. And I like, and then I had these moments too where a bunch of us, you know, and now we were starting to connect a little bit more. Like before, we'd kind of been in our cocoons going through our own processes. You're hearing people inside their yurt, outside of their yurt, going through their own process, whatever that looks like. If that's expressing really loudly, if that's maybe crying or whatever, but everyone is processing differently, whatever is coming up for them. But now I felt more in this like connection too, where it's like there's a bunch of us that were out on the deck and we're all looking at the stars together, and I'm just like, wow, like holy fuck, this is like crazy, this is so cool. And that like and more like having that connection and just like being really grateful for the space and the sisters that I had there. And I remember looking up at the stars and like, holy shit. Like it was just the trees outside the yurt, like Mother Earth, and the stars, like they were so close to me. It's like the stars were beaming down at me, like certain stars. It's like they were just like calling out to me, like they almost just wanted to grab me and like pull them up. It was amazing. And then I look up and I'm like, oh, like the starships, like they're everywhere. They're everywhere moving around. I could see them all. It was like the veil was lifted and my pineal gland was just blasted open and I could see them all just like moving. Like they were way up there, so they're like tiny dots, but they're moving around. And I could almost see the field that they were like creating. And it was just like this moment of like, we're here. Like we're here. We're supporting you. And it just felt so fucking real. Like, because I think, you know, it's been quite a journey for me since I started waking up, especially since 2020. Like just following the intuitive nudges and feeling like I'm supposed to be doing this work or leaning into my spirituality, however that looks. And, you know, with that, I think there's like doubt that comes along, but it was just this moment of being together in community and connection and being like, no, this is real. Like this is really, really real. And also being like, this is who I am. Like I'm connected to the stars and this is, and the earth.
Right.
And this is who I am. And I don't have to deny that piece of me anymore either, or shut it off or be ashamed of it. Like I can just be accepted and held completely in my authenticity. And I was really feeling into what that felt like, just to be held by the space holders that are there. Like I'm here to receive the medicine. So let myself receive it. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be anything to be supported and to be held. I just get to be myself and know that I am loved for myself. And I truly don't know if I've like really ever felt that in like a really, really long time. Like truly felt it and truly understood it, where it just like clicked.
Yeah. Right. That would make sense. And yeah, like, you know, yeah, it's definitely just like to speak to all the stuff that you were saying about like with awakening and just feeling alone, or just feeling like you don't understand why it is that all of these things resonate so much, but they just do, and you just know that they're true and you don't even have evidence of them. And you know, it's sometimes you get so deep into it, and then other times you like kind of snap back and you have one of those moments where like, what the hell are other people thinking that I'm saying all this stuff? Or you're like, is any of this real? And you know, it's just kind of this constant, or I don't know, I guess for me, it's like I experience just like a few moments of like snapbacks of just being, either wanting to question or just being like, wow, do I really like, is this really my life? And then to just kind of have a moment where you just, you know, in a different level in your own, the way that you were interpreting it and then interacting with it and seeing the starships and everything, and feeling that connection, because it all is about that connection. And it's like that's the only reason that we are saying anything, that we are here, and with everything, it always kind of comes back down to this connection, or this deep soul connection with these just with these things that we resonate with so deeply. And yeah, to just have a moment to feel like, yeah, especially to feel like it's being received on the other side, and just really feeling like you are supported in this. Wow.
Yeah, it was huge. And I just there was just this feeling of like, I'm not afraid anymore. Like I worked through so many fears in that time, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to be myself. I'm not afraid to do this work. I'm proud of who I am. I'm fucking cool. Like, and really mean it too. Like, there's so many things I've worked through in the last 3 years. Like, well, like, for example, a big one is like, I didn't get vaccinated. And I don't think we've really talked about that much on the podcast.
Nope.
And that was my choice. And I felt like my body was telling me that wasn't the right choice for me. But I had a lot of shame around that. Like, even though I made the choice, I felt like shameful to tell people about it. Honestly, like I'd be like, my voice would get quiet and I'd be like, yeah, well, I did. Because of just like, I was so worried of how they would perceive me, or what they would think, or if they would judge me. And because I was trying to put my guard up and be safe, I felt like safety meant that for people not to judge me. And that's what safety was. So I was trying to not give them the opportunity to judge me. And even with my work, like, I used to be a respiratory therapist and work in the hospitals, and I don't do that anymore. And I'm following this path of this energy work and this healing. And that was another thing I felt shameful around. I had a hard time telling people that. I left my 9 to 5. I chose not to get vaccinated. Oh, what do you do now? And I would feel like my voice would kind of get quiet, and I wasn't. Yeah. And that's something really working through too. And I feel like I don't feel that anymore. I don't feel afraid, and I feel really proud in who I am and what I do and about anyone. Like, I think I used to have thoughts about, well, what will people in my hometown think? What will maybe some of my partner's family think? What about my partner's friends, or some people that were like, that we know, but what will they think? And I truly don't fucking care what they think.
Right. And that comes from a place of authentic self-trust, or like authentic knowing of what you believe. Yeah. That can only come from that place.
Yeah. And it's just so free. And I'm like, so looking forward to what the next chapter is going to be like, really owning my authenticity and my own medicine. And it's also this feeling too of, it's not just me. Everyone has their frequency and their medicine. And another huge part of this is I have so much deep respect for the space holders and the medicine women that were in this space. It's a big wake up call for me in this way too, and moving for me, because I watch them work on all of us and help move the density. And we moved a lot of density.
Yeah, I bet.
We moved a lot of density. Like I said, I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Yep.
But this is what it is. This is what it is. It's about healing. It's about healing. And between all of us, we moved a lot of density. And that was part of it too, is I could feel the pain and the suffering from all of my sisters there, and the grief and the sorrow. I could feel it. I'd feel it so, so deeply in my bones, like I was them. I could feel it. And beyond that, I could feel the pain of all of our sisters before us, our mothers, our grandmothers, our ancestors, women as a whole on this planet. I could feel the pain and the suffering that we've endured over lifetimes. And I really felt the magnitude of that. It's like we know that that's happened and we know that women are carrying a lot of weight, but I really, really felt it. And then I watched as the space holders, just the capacity they had to hold that and to be there in service and to, do the work and to dive head first to do the work and to hold all of us there as sisters.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what a service. Oh my God.
What a service. So just deep, deep gratitude to them, because like, this is it. This is doing the work. It's what it looks like. It doesn't necessarily have to be in mushroom ceremony, but it's being the fucking buffalo and it's going head on into the storm. And it's doing the work. So it's so easy to be the cow and to run away from the storm and to not do the work. But how are we going to heal if we run away from our wounds? It's time to, face the shadows and move through it. And yeah, just to watch the space holders hold that space was such an honor. And it really, really moved me to be able to witness it and to be a part of it and to also hold space for my sisters as they went through their process and to feel them holding space for me and us holding space together. It was a different level of sisterhood, like, that I've never ever felt before. And to now know that I always have access to that. And that is what the future looks like. That is what healing looks like. Yeah.
And I feel like there is this aspect of the reason that there is this separation or judgment or unwillingness to, like, for women to connect with other women or try to understand them better is because it's like this knowing that there are these similarities in the experiences and knowing that, like, to forgive and to forgive is to really see something, is to really kind of have that complete empathy and put yourself in that position. And it is a lot of energy to take on someone else's or to recreate that experience of someone else's traumatic experiences that made them the way they are. And I'm kind of just, for some reason, like, the example that's coming to me right now is like the mother-daughter wounds. And
Yes.
and when you place this wedge between you and a parent, and it's hard to like fully empathize, because it's like, I think it's like you do know that there isn't history there for them as well. And I guess, at least for me, I don't know, I guess like it's coming up for me too. It's like sometimes it's like I have this unwillingness to go there and to feel that empathy for like everything that like my mom has felt.
Yeah.
And whatever has, and it puts this separation.
Yeah.
And it puts this separation. And I think it's just, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that all made sense.
No, it does make sense. There was even just with my own mom, just I was able to move through a lot of that too at the time, like feeling her guilt and just being like, you can release that and let that go, because I'm not going to hold it anymore. I'm not going to hold it. So you can have it, but you can also let it go. Yeah. And that was the mother wound too was a big one to move through. But
well, I feel like that's where I just feel like there is such an origination point there. I mean, obviously, it's very complex, and it literally is your origination point. So of course there's origination point there, but it just like it keeps I just keep having this thought about how like at least for me, and I feel like because it's true for me, it's probably very common for other people, putting up this emotional wall between you and your mother,
Yep.
and really, like, I don't know, I have this unwillingness to like put myself fully
Yep.
there because I want to keep this. I have trouble having emotional stronger connection there because I'm trying to keep some separation emotionally
Yeah.
alive for some reason. And I don't know, like maybe it's kind of this unwillingness to go there in that specific relationship, unwillingness to like, trade places and feel what was felt. And maybe it's because it's already in our DNA.
Yeah.
What your mother felt, it's already in your blueprint.
Yeah.
And maybe that makes sense. And maybe that's kind of why it's extra resistance to kind of fully empathizing or sympathizing with like a mother figure, because that is meeting yourself in a way.
I think you're trying to protect yourself too by doing that.
Yeah, yeah. And that's just like brought up a lot of stuff for me just now in this last few minutes. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, just such honor to be there with all the women that were there, all the sisters and the space holders, and to watch them work their magic and move through the density. And even we got to this really beautiful place where it was like, the music changed and the drums started beating, and it was like, come on, sisters, like, get up, find your feet, like, get up. And we got up, and the song that came on was Grandmother's Song, and it was in my head the next day on repeat. Maybe I'll play it at the end of our thing, so I'd really like to listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or should I play it now?
Sure.
Okay. Can you hear it?
I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She says, stand in your power, women, stand in your power. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She say, give birth, give life, mothers, give birth, give life. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She say, teach them, be wise, grow and teach them, be wise. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She say, wake up, child, wake up, wake up. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She says, stand in your power, women, stand in your power. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She say, give birth, give life, mothers, give birth, give life. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She say, teach them, be wise, grow and teach them, be wise. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother's song. She say, wake up, child, wake up, wake up. Listen, 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 listen. I hear the voice of my grandmother's
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys had this moment of like uprising together, sort of.
Yeah, I just wanted to play it all because the tempo like sped up in it, and then we were like dancing. But then it was like, you know, the space holders are like, ladies, like find your feet if you're able to, find your feet. And like sometimes you didn't want to, you're like laying down and you're like really in it and processing. It was like find your feet, get up.
Ooh, find your feet. That feels deep too.
It was
just that phrase.
It was powerful. And now we're in the middle of the yurt, and there's these poles all in the middle of the yurt, and we're all like standing around it and we're dancing, and I'm like just like I'm dancing so hard to this. And like the space holders, I don't remember the exact words that they were saying, but they're, you know, it was very like, come on, ladies, like what the song is saying, like, let's stand in our power. This is our time, like in sisterhood, and like very inspirational. And just at the time, I just remember just how profound and moving it was. Like I look around, and also like in the middle of the yurt is where like the altar is. There's some flowers there to represent Mother Earth. And there's like candles. There's candles all around and crystals and stuff. And I did forget to mention that in the beginning of the ceremony, we opened the ceremony with the 4 directions. So we called in the 4 directions and Mother Earth and Spirit, Father, Son.
Yeah.
And I remember Tina specifically said, one of the space holders, she was like, you will feel more connected to the seasons and the earth and everything at the end of this. Wow. And your sisters. And in this moment in this song, when this came on, it hit me. It was so powerful. I just felt something so ancestral with our sisters. And I looked around and we're all dancing in this circle, and it just felt so like tribal, you know?
Yeah,
and like
definitely.
And like witchy, like in the in like the best way. And I was just like,
yes,
holy fuck, like this is it. Like this is where I belong. This is what my soul has been craving for lifetime after lifetime, is this community and in this sisterhood, and just having this moment of seeing like years ago, lifetimes ago, this is the magic. It was in ceremony and sisterhood. If it was dancing around the fire or wherever it was together that we alchemized the wounds, and we alchemized the density, and we alchemized the darkness, and we pushed through it. And you know, it's our responsibility. Like our pain is our fucking responsibility. And everyone that showed up there that night, you know, other people were nervous too, but we made a choice to be the buffalo and to face the storm and to move the density. And it was just the moment of all of this was just this realization for me is, this is so much bigger than me. This is so much bigger than me. So much bigger than me. And letting go of the little things that didn't matter anymore. Like my grubby toenails at the beginning, or not wanting to let my curly hair out. It didn't matter anymore. I don't care. It's not about me. It doesn't matter. It's so much big. And then even just like my mission, like I think it's easy to get caught up in what does success look like, and having the money, and what am I doing, and always what I'm
business
doing.
And yeah.
And it was just this moment of me of being able to transcend the ego of being so caught up in myself. And like, it's bigger than this. This healing work is so much bigger than you. But I was also so honored to have the capacity to hold this space and be there and witness this. And also, I feel called to this path in so many ways. And it's now this thing that's bigger than me, that it's like, it's part of healing. It's part of healing the collective and holding space for women and sisters, so we can all find our medicine, and we can all find our feet, and we can all stand up, because we're in this new paradigm where the earth is trying to heal itself. Humanity is trying to heal itself. And there is density. We're moving through density. We're moving through the pain and the suffering and the grief from all the generations and all of it. And we have the power to move it, and we can move it, and we have the potential to move it. And it's not necessarily always easy, but we have the responsibility to move it. But we don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone. We have community here. We have sisters here. We can do this together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really important point. And like part of the central point of all of this and why you did, there's a reason you didn't do this experience alone.
Yeah. It was, just such a profound realization. And so my intent at the beginning when it kept coming to me was show me the way. It came through in such clarity that this is the way, that ceremony in sisterhood and community is the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so then I was just over flooded with just so much gratitude for the space, for the medicine. Like, thank you to the mushrooms. Thank you to the women that were all there, the space holders. And I also had this moment of deep gratitude for the masculine, because it's not all about just the sisters and the feminine. It is. We're there to heal the sisterhood because it's so important. Yes. But a deep gratitude for the masculine that are holding the feminine in this space as we rise in our power. And even for my own partner, like, I just had this deep gratitude that came up for him, because I'm like, sometimes I don't know if he really knows what the fuck he got himself into. but his soul knows, and he's been with me every step of the way to support me. And I see, I don't know exactly what this is going to look like moving forward, but I see it moving and I see it shifting, and I feel my calling, and I feel like I'm finally, like, in these moments, I see my true authentic self, like my true self. I seen my soul, and I seen his soul here. I seen his soul too, and his willingness to just hold the container of the feminine and be there as part of the journey. Yeah, so deep gratitude to the masculine too, that holds these containers as the feminine rises, because we got a lot of fire in us.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the mushrooms too, I felt into and chatted with them, and they're here to help us. Plant medicine and the mushrooms, they're here to help us. The mushrooms are here to rewire our neural pathways, to heal us, to heal our neural pathways. And they want to be in co-creation with us. They can't do it alone. They need our body.
Yeah.
To do the co-creation.
Right. They need us too.
But they're here to help us, and that's their mission. And just like deep gratitude to the mushrooms and the plant medicine too. And it's just like, and Mother Gaia, like, she loves us so, 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 so much, so unconditionally. Like, she's our rock. She's holding us, and we got to help her. We're moving through this density that comes up, and we got to help her. But no matter what, she's always here. She's always holding us, and she always has been. And just, the moments of all the fear that I moved through, because even in the beginning, way early in the ceremony, like before I even had taken the mushrooms, I walked up the hill to go to the outhouse, because you kind of got to walk up the hill in the forest a little bit, and I was alone, and it was starting to get dark. And I remember I heard something kind of move outside, and I was like, and I'm like, kind of like, okay, like,
yeah,
like hurry up, and I hope, and like I'm kind of like hoping there's nothing really out there, blah blah blah. And then later in the night, I remember coming outside and it was dark and seeing, Mother Earth, and I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid of anything because I had felt the oneness and how we're all there together and being held by Mother Gaia. We had these beautiful moments out on the deck where the stars are dancing and we're dancing and we're connecting, and the coyotes begin to howl and you can hear them and you just know they're echoing our energy. They're echoing our voice. Like, it, you can feel it. I had so many of these moments where there was no separation between me and my sister and the grass and the trees and the stars. I remember I could feel the pulse of the mother. Like I was breathing with her. It's like in through my pores. I was just breathing in life. I was breathing it all in. And I wasn't just me and my body. I was consciousness. I was everything at the same time. And that's why it was so easy to bring in the love of this person and this person in this situation, because it's like, I just really felt and had that true understanding of how we're all so divinely fucking connected. Like it's all so connected. And we breathe together. We're all we breathe together the pulse of the earth, and we choose to separate ourselves. And maybe we have the programming to separate that separates ourselves from nature, from earth, or from our old ways. But we have the choice to do the healing work and to come back and to be connected to the earth and to make a real relationship with her, to make a real relationship with her spirit, and to make a real relationship with the star nations that are above us, that are wanting to help us, and with the directions and the trees and the animals. Like when I walked out there after that, and it was just walking on the earth in my bare feet. And I wasn't afraid if like an animal was going to come out of anywhere, because I know that I was held and that I was connected, and everything knows what's going on and how and I had completely dropped all of my fear. It was really profound. And so now I'm seeing the stars out at me. They're talking to me. Like I'm realizing, it's my home. I came from way up there, and they're supporting me, and they're all around me. And now these visuals, like I've went through all this dense stuff, and the visuals are like changing, and I don't even know how to describe what happened in this place, because I don't even know how to describe. Like it was just so ethereal and heaven-like, and it's like I just seen the angels. The angels were everywhere, all around the room. They were all around me. This is where I went. Like I was in the 12th dimension. Like I was in the 12th dimension, and this is why this experience and the mushrooms and this work and the medicine is just so profound and so powerful, because and I don't know how everyone will take this. Again, like with everything that I'm saying, I'm speaking to my own personal experience. And so take what resonates and leaves what don't. But I seen God that night, whatever that means. I seen God. I seen it in my sisters. I seen it in myself. I seen it in the earth, in the trees, in the stars. I felt the breath of God move through me, the pulse. I see it in the angels, the spirit guides that are here to help. And just back to it's just so much bigger than me, but I'm a part of it.
Right.
Yeah. And just and then it was finally, and I've talked about my past lives as like an angel and all that. And it was just such this validation as they just all stood around me, and I was just in this place that I really can't describe as anything else but heaven, just the rainbow kind of prisms of colors and ethereal colors, and the glacial water blues, the eyes of the angels and their wings, and they were just all around me, and I felt I was just so back home, in this 12th dimension with them, and having access to this to this energy in this space, and there's a reason for it. There's healing light that can come out of that dimension. That's going to help us move through this density. That's going to help us move through all of this. It's going to help heal. Yeah, I definitely didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Wow, sounds like you got more than you bargained for.
And then I think back to the moments in the beginning where I'm like, what the fuck did you do, Mikayla? I'm just going to wait this out. I'm just going to wait this out until it passes. It's fine. And then to know what was all going to come in the night. And then, we get to this place where it's just like, we're dancing and I'm just being my free self. And I'm just like dancing around and I'm like hugging my sisters and I'm looking at people's faces and it's just like, now it's all just an adventure. Like you go outside to go to the bathroom and someone's guiding me and there's a train of us going and we're holding each other. And I don't even know who's necessarily beside me because I don't even have the capacity to really read someone's face, but I just know, but it doesn't matter because I could feel them. I could feel my sister. I could feel their soul. And I was just so happy she or whoever it was there with me. And it was such an adventure. You go outside and like the stars are glowing and their face is glowing or their clothes are glowing. It's just like this magical forest now too. And
yeah,
it was,
wow.
It was absolutely life-changing for me on so many levels. I feel like I went through shedding of layers, a constant death and rebirth over and over and over, to really move into this place of peace, freedom, love, and also feeling into who I am as a soul, my actual work. Yeah. And like I said, I don't know exactly what that's going to look like next, but I know that I have the capacity to serve and help. And I want to be of service in a way that's bigger than me, in a way that's not just like trying to build for my own success, which is still valid to want that, but in a way that's bigger than me, that's finally clicked in that I'm here to be of service and I don't have to force it. There's like a spark that's ignited in me to be of service and to help my sisters and my community. Yeah.
I like that about not having to force it. It's true. It's like when the time is right, whatever you have to do will be made clear to you.
Yeah. And I think and I'm looking back on my night and I remember at the beginning, I was all cocooned in, we were in, the womb cocoon. I was in my blankets and then over time kind of started to slowly come out. And then I was dancing and I was on the deck and I was like, it was like a full metamorphosis, like a full of growing like the wings. And I thought of those shackles that had been keeping me down from flying and how those weren't there anymore. And my wings were big and ready and they're ready to fly. And I'm not being held down anymore. I'm ready to fly. And I invite all the other sisters to take up their wings and fly and for us to fly together. Because it's time and we can do it. We can do it in sisterhood. And just the moving through it all the uncomfortable emotions in the beginning, and then how I had these moments of absolute just joy and bliss, and so very, very thankful. So much gratitude for the space holders, fellow sisters, for the land, for the beautiful Mongolian yurt and the guardian at the door and every single piece that was woven inside of it, because I know that there's been something that has been woken up inside of me, something that's clicked, something that's accepting my power, and ready to step up in
Yeah.
in service, and ready to accept the help of the plants, and just knowing that I don't have to do it alone. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm finally home. It makes it all worth it, I think. Now I look back to 2020 when I got the intuitive hit to move out to the Okanagan, and I didn't really know why, but I just knew I was supposed to come out here. And the last 3 years I've just been following my intuition, but really a lot of the time stumbling around in the dark, and a lot of time spent alone, and a lot of time spent in isolation and wondering where my tribe are and where my people are. And they're starting to get it now. I'm starting to get it why I'm here. They're starting to
Mm-hmm.
pop up. They're around me.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I just got
And it's
chills.
just, it's like starting to make sense. And it's like I'm feeling like I'm at home in my body, and just physically, yeah. There's something else I wanted to say with that too, but oh yeah, yeah. Well, and then so I couldn't really so then after we're all sitting in a group and we go through integration, we're sitting there, and the space holders go around and kind of ask us each if we have something that we'd like to share. And I don't even remember exactly what I shared, but I remember it coming through with such like confidence and just feeling so safe in the space and so held to just say what was coming through. And it was so important. And I remember I was laying on my back and I was looking up at the Mongolian yurt, and there was paintings on it. And it was just so ethereal and beautiful the way everything was moving around. And if anyone remembers Kona, who's my guardian wolf who stays on the left side of me, I looked up at my bed, and on the left side of my bed there was a drum with a wolf on it. And so Kona had,
No
yeah, and
way.
it was just glowing too, just glowing and dancing. And I was like, thanks,
Uh-huh.
baby girl.
Cool.
And right below her, Osa Soul had come in to sit to say that she was there to support me in my mission, and she was part of it. And
Mm-hmm.
the top of the
Yeah.
earth, there's just this open space, like open window where you could see the trees and stuff above, and it was just dancing and opening up into this portal. Like we'd created a portal, and it was through that. Then I also seen all the souls, the rainbow children. They're dancing around because they're waiting to come in. Probably a lot of us there that are
Yeah.
if wanting to
Wow.
be mothers,
Yeah.
and outside of that
Yeah.
too. But there, I could see all the souls that were just waiting to come in because they have so
Wow.
much work to do, and they're waiting to come through
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
portal.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then just going around and listening to everyone's experience and what came up for them, and having that space to share, and hearing your aha moments and realizations in each other. And then after that, we closed the ceremony with the drum ceremony. And holy, like just being able to stand at all the directions. And she was right. I felt it way deeper in my body, in my soul, the connection that I'd never felt before, that will always be there now, just as we went to each direction, and to the skies, Father Son, and to Mother Earth, and just honoring them, and honoring the connection, and wanting to be connected, and opening and expanding, and also accepting our alchemy as women. Like this is what witches did years and years ago. This was our alchemy, this was our magic, this was our medicine, and accepting that together in sisterhood and all together, and accepting the support of the directions and the earth and the spirit and the skies. And it was just so potent and powerful, and you could just feel it all. And then after that, people kind of laid down and went to bed. I was still very much on a journey. I don't think I was going to bed anytime soon. I got up and went to the bathroom multiple times. And the one time I went to the bathroom, and there was this little like book in there, it said it was called The Wolf Called Wander. And I just sat and I like read it and I started reading it and I just started crying because I think it was like this little lone wolf wander, and it was like a novel, so I didn't read the whole thing, but I could like feel the energy from the book. And I think it was just about how eventually this wolf like finds its home. And I just felt so deeply that I'd found my home. And I don't know if I've ever felt that ever before in my life. So I just, then I walked out of like the outhouse and the sun was starting to come up, but the sky was just like pink, and you could see the stars still. And I could see the yurt where I knew all the women were in, and I could see the trees all around, and it's one of the, and the mountains in the background. It's like one of the most beautiful captured moments I think that I've like ever had in my life. Like it was just so beautiful. And I just had so much gratitude, and I was just like, I'm home. And I just was, I was crying tears. I was just so grateful for my experience. And to think however many hours before, I just wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went through it and tried to sleep, and in the morning we got up and we went down. We left the yurt and went down and Jada, who is the keeper of the land, was hosting a beautiful dance class on her deck in the sun, and she had some other people that were there, and we stayed and we danced, which was such a great way to process. And it was just this new life. Like it was just this new life, this new feeling, this new version of me. I was a completely different person, and I was just so pumped, like dance on the deck with everyone and just like connect with everyone. And I was seeing people through a different light too. Like instead of like having this guard up and like almost trying to, it's a way of trying to protect myself, but trying to figure out, I don't even know how to explain it, but having this guard up that in between me and another and preventing me from maybe seeing them in their full beauty. I feel like I was seeing every person just like in their full beauty, no matter what they looked like or how old they were, or how they danced or whatever. I was just seeing the full beauty in each person. It was just so excited to be there and connect with them and dance with them. And
yeah,
it's fucking potent.
Wow. It's quite the experience.
It's fucking, yeah. And I don't even feel like that doesn't even sum it up. A lot of it, I feel like I can't even put into words. Like, I remember when I was asked in my integration, like, how's it going for you, Mikayla? I don't remember all of what I said, but I do remember saying powerful. And I was like, but it doesn't even feel like that's the right word to describe it, because it's just a word. Like it feels like it's just such a human word right now, but it's the only word that I'm able to, that I feel like to use. But I'm like, but I don't feel like that's the word.
There aren't always words for things. Sometimes there aren't words because we are in a third density container and the universe is bigger than that.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's kind of just it too, because maybe we're in the third density, or maybe we're in the 5D and we get to have the choice.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know what the next what the next chapter is or what's coming up, but I'm very much looking forward to this path that I've been shown, and I'm very excited, and I'm very, again, honored and grateful for the space holders and the ladies, the women, the sisters that held this space, the space holders, as well as the ones that were there in ceremony into the land. And
still a lot to integrate, and I'm sure it'll just, the work is done, like it is done, and now you just get to live it and walk it and see, you just, there's obviously not much to do. You just get to allow it to unfold in your being.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid anymore. I'm free. I don't have these limitations that are holding me back. And I know as I journey more and ceremony more, there'll be more layers that come up, but there's a lot that I released and I let go of, and this new sense of freedom it's wow. And it's also just like a reminder and a lesson that we have access to this. And sometimes you might have to be the buffalo and face the storm and go through the storm first and go through the discomfort. But we have access to it, and we have potential to move the density, and we don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. We can do it in sisterhood. We can do it in community, and the way forward is in sisterhood and is in community. And that is how we're going to build the new earth, is through connection and true and love and true unconditional love.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I don't know what more there is to say. I feel like it was just these few episodes were just a giant mic drop of, it's a lot to it's going to be a lot for the listeners to integrate as well.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome little ripple effect of the experience.
Ripple effect, baby.
And thank you for sharing, and thank you for being so vulnerable.
Thank you for holding space
in your sharing of your deepest, darkest things. So I hope it was helpful to other people. I'm sure it was. All right. Do you want to wrap up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being here and for listening. And, please share this episode with someone. Mushrooms are something that a lot of people have experience with, and like hearing about different experiences and people's journeys. So definitely, these episodes are probably very share worthy. So share this with a friend if you think you have someone in your life that would find this interesting. And please, make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube. Check out our video episodes there. And if you enjoyed this, also please be sure to give us a rating and definitely leave a review if you feel so called to. We very much appreciate it. We're probably going to run some something with, I'm blanking on the word. What's the incentives for reviews? I don't know.
Oh, like a giveaway?
What's the word? Giveaway.
Sure
oh yeah, a giveaway.
There, sorry. Yeah, we're gonna do a giveaway soon.
I didn't know what I was trying to say there. Yeah. So thank you for anyone that has left a review, and follow us on Instagram at the Orphic Podcast. My Instagram is at interdimensional.astrophysics.
Yeah, and I also just want to say, or kind of put a disclaimer as I was thinking about this too, like this is my experience and from my point of view, and I'm absolutely not saying that like mushrooms are for everyone to do. Like it's always like use your resonance and your own discernment as of to what was right for you. This was the healing and transformation that happened personally for my experience, and I'm really, really happy that I was able to sit in ceremony in this way, as well as something that's really cool is I feel like I really metamorphosis through this and grew my wings and found my wings. I actually have a program that's called Metamorphosis, a one-on-one program, and I have spots open for that right now too, if anyone else is interested in really diving deep and doing this healing work. And I think through this, I also found this is the work that I'm supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be deep like this. I think in the past, I had feelings of trying to change my work to what the audience would like. But now I know that this shadow work, the shadow angel in me, the angel energy, that is my work, and I will magnetize others that resonate with that work. And I'm so excited about this work, and I'm so excited about like this program. So if that's something that interests you, please reach out to me, because I do have spots open for my one-on-one deep dive program in Metamorphosis. And and thank you so much for listening and for holding space. And another part of it too is I think it's our medicine, no matter who we are, is so deeply needed right now. Like that was a huge realization through this too, is I realized how needed my medicine was beyond just even myself or tying my success or whatever, but just the medicine and the healing work was so needed. But it's not just me. Every single sister there had their own unique frequency, their own unique medicine to share. And I love that about them. And so do you. Like, so does every person that's listening. You have something unique, some frequency to help heal the planet. And it doesn't necessarily have to be healing work, even though it still is, but even like creative projects or whatever. Like, you have that medicine within you, and you're doing a disservice by not sharing it with the world. And, you know, I'd love to see more and more of you come through with your medicine and know that you are supportive too. The time is now to, you know, be yourself and let your medicine shine. And with that, please leave us a review if you like our podcast on Apple and Spotify, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel, and leave a comment or a review there. That stuff really, really helps us out. And follow me at Mariposa Moonchild on Instagram, and follow our podcast at the Orphic Podcast on Instagram. And if you have any questions or anything topics you'd like us to speak on, send us a DM or an email too, because we always like to hear any type of feedback or content that you'd like to hear.
Thank you, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Bye.